Welcome to episode 49 of FTCE Seminar, a teacher certification podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musto. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Allan Pierce, whose specialty is Instructional Design and Performance Technology. Allan is so cool. He has been working in and with technology in higher education for 11 years, and he's a total guru. Welcome to the show, Allan. We're glad to have you on today's podcast.
Thank you so much, Mercedes. I really appreciate the time.
I'd like to start with how important technology is in today's classroom. And in fact, we now have technology integration standards in teacher education. And I just attended a dissertation defense about people's confidence using technology. So this is a really big deal. But more specifically, I asked you here today because I would like to know more about, technology beyond Kahoot, not knocking Kahoot because that's the extent of my knowledge, but let's talk about Panapto. I think this is a great place to start, Allan, so let me ask you this. A little bit about yourself. Looking back, was there one moment in time where you said, technology, I love this stuff? Tell me about your interest in this area.
Absolutely, Mercedes. So whenever I first got my first personal computer, that was it. Starting off, just trying to understand how to utilize all components of the individual computer and how it can better benefit us. That was my ticket right there. And technology to me is more critical in our education system because not only is it a vital tool, but it helps benefit everyone. If anything, I would say to anyone, never be afraid of technology. Technology is there to stay. It's going to continue evolving, and it's going to be a pivotal thing in education going forward.
All right. I completely agree with you on that. It's like lean in. So people have suggested using Panapto, and I was like, oh, is this complicated? So now tell our listeners a little bit about Panapto, like define it and flesh it out a little bit.
Absolutely. So Panapto is a video capturing software that we currently use out here at the university campus. Instructors can effectively video capture their entire lecture, even from the classroom directly, and then post it later to their Canvas shell. What's great about it, too, is it's a video editor, so you can go back, edit the video. You can ask quizzes throughout the individual session as well. So a lot of great integration can come from Panapto if it's utilized in an online setting. It could be utilized in a hybrid setting as well. So I've really grown to enjoy the tool as an effective way of recording lectures and posting them online.
So I'm listening and I'm thinking, could you give me an example of how an instructor can successfully use Panapto in an online course? So you said lectures, but I heard you talk about quizzes. Will you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, absolutely. So the great thing about recording with Panapto is that you can integrate quizzes directly within the individual video. So to make sure that your students aren't falling asleep, in other words, right whenever they're listening to your video, you can integrate the individual quizzes and make sure that they're staying engaged with the individual content. This way, you make sure that, again, they go all the way to the end and ensure that they actually attended, so to speak, the video all the way through.
That is genius. So I'm hearing, according to the technology standards in the classroom, student engagement is way up there as a priority. And by integrating the quiz in your video, you would achieve that.
Absolutely.
Well, we're all students here. Let's say I'm interested in exploring more about Panapto or even other educational technologies. How do you go about learning how to use technology? Where do you start?
Absolutely, Mercedes. So my philosophy has always been use it till you break it. So I've always been a big person with getting my hands dirty, starting out with understanding how the interface works, what key things are there for us to utilize to integrate it within the classroom. That's one of my real big things that I do here on campus is trying to understand how instructors can utilize technology more effectively in the classroom. And to me, that's more important than anything is because it's a piece of helping students stay engaged within the actual curriculum. Being able to actually record, post it later within Canvas, and then being able to have the ability to integrate those quizzes, being able to edit it, that to me is a great tool to utilize.
I'm going to have to say I'm totally on board. You're in the right career path for yourself because just listening to you talk about it, it's like, yes, you got my buy-in. So you're an instructional designer. In instructional design during your career, what is one lesson that you've learned that you think other people should learn?
Never be afraid to try something new. If anything, look at your current curriculum right now and see if it's something that could integrate with other technology. Maybe there's something that a student can help benefit and understand a little bit more based upon what you already have, and using it to, meet those objectives that you have. More than anything, whenever I go into a classroom, I want to ensure that the technology is functional, it's working effectively, and that, anyone can go in and actually record a lecture, be able to post it, and be able to use that pedagogy effectively to make sure students are engaged and that they're meeting those objectives.
This is excellent. I really think that when you talk about reach, and I thought about this literally, so I'm short, and we use tools, right? So one tool I always need is a ladder, and that actually gives me further reach. And now, I may have been a little bit afraid of technology, and it's when it was coming in, and now I'm thinking, look how it's a tool. It gives me reach. I can do more. I can teach to a greater depth, and really, I think we should all just be embracing this and learning. And like you said, just go at it until you break something.
That's right.
Before we wrap it up, do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners, especially those aspiring to integrate technology to advance learning?
The best thing I can say is never be afraid of technology. Go in being able just to have that little bit of confidence. Some of us just like that little bit of confidence to go in and know that I can effectively use this technology to help integrate into my curriculum. I can be able to, with Panapto, we can actually integrate it with an actual live lecture. We can post it later. And that's one great tool that we have available to us. Just one of the many tools that we have available to us. We still have other web conferencing type tools, but Panapto to me was one of the best successes that I had, at least whenever recording lectures, being able to post them later in Canvas, which we use out here at UWF. That was the best thing. I enjoyed using it so much.
It sounds to me like a new library, like it's a library of lectures, which I think is absolutely fascinating, especially in an audio sense. I want to thank Allan for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Mercedes. I really appreciate the time.
I was really honored to work with Allan last year on a project, and I'm so thankful that he finally got in the studio today, that ultimately we're living in a highly technological world, and it's so cool. I can't wait to do some more EdTech time with Allan, and I really look forward to having you back.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Any last words that you would like to add?
If anything, go forward with technology.
That's an excellent message. This is your host, Mercedes Musto. Join me again on FTCE Seminar, a teacher certification podcast. This podcast was recorded at the Pickens Multimedia Studio at the University of West Florida. This podcast is listener supported. Contributions can be made via the listener support link on Spotify, or you can buy me a coffee on ftceseminar.com.